It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 96. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, September 29, 2024. A great day for a podcast about video games and much more, and that's what I'm here to do. So welcome to the show. Hope you're doing great out there in the world wide world, or the universe, or the galaxy, or wherever you may be listening to this podcast. If it's in real time, if it's 95 years in the future. Thank you for listening to the Dep Lewis Show today, and wherever you are, I hope it's going great. So the first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly and get some additional benefits. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show more than just listening. So just thank you for everything and thank you for being here. We're going to talk about some video games. We're going to have our three sections of the show as always. The first section, what video games I've been playing, so what am I into recently. The second section is the mid-section, is the news. All the video game news, happenings, releases, information, tidbits, rumors, speculation, everything you need to know about the video game world is in the mid-section of the show every week. And the third and final section, the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. Usually get into the worldwide world of sports there and talk about all my favorite teams and what's going on with them. And today will be no exception for that, because it's a pretty huge day in the sports world for me, as in my fandom, what the Panthers are playing after their great game last week, which we'll talk about. So they're playing today, so you can keep the magic going. And the Braves are playing, trying to clinch a playoff spot. So that is definitely at the top of my mind, in entertainment-wise, worrying about what's going on with the Braves especially. So we're going to get into that at the end of the show, but we got to talk some video game stuff first. That's the main thing. Talk about the video game. So let's get into it. I think that's all I have. So, welcome to the show, video game show, tell you about all the video games, and that is the plan. So myself as a video gamer, what have I been playing? I've got a new game this week that I'm sure a lot of people have as well. That's The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. The new Zelda game is out for the Nintendo Switch. It released on September 26, 2024. It's $59.99 US. It is game voucher eligible. So if you have two games in mind you want to purchase, you can spend $99.99, $100 US, and get two games. So you save $20 there basically if you have two games you want to purchase. So just take note of that. I feel like Nintendo does a good job of putting their recent releases in the game voucher section. So I think that's a pretty nice thing to do. And in this game, you want to save Hyrule, this time with Princess Zelda. So that is the big twist here, or one of the big twists. It's a top-down 2D Zelda, and it is a game starring Zelda. You're actually controlling, which is pretty crazy. So after Princess Zelda was captured by Ganon, the swordsman Link stormed in to rescue her. After a fierce battle, Link appeared to defeat the villain, but was suddenly dragged down into a mysterious rift in the ground and disappeared. So always some crazy environmental stuff going on in Hyrule taking place. And this one is a mysterious rift taking people in and disappearing them. And these strange rifts begin to appear all over Hyrule, swallowing up others, including the king and his advisors. I think it was two advisors. Left alone, it's now up to Princess Zelda to save her kingdom in a brand new adventure in the Legend of Zelda series. So, my first initial impressions of this game are I love it. And I've been touting another game as immediate game of the year, but I think this one's immediately in the conversation, and I'm really loving this game. And if you listen to any prior Dep Lewis shows, you might know that I love playing Zelda games, but I never completed one. I get trolled by this in real life, and I troll myself, and you should troll me on this podcast as well until I do complete one. And hey, this is going to be my next stab at it. I've been going in the backlog this year trying to play some Zeldas, and I have been, but nothing completed. So now I have a new example of a Zelda game to try, and I'm going to do it. That's my commitment here today. I'm going to do it. I know I've committed before and failed, but hey, we're going to do this. I'm going to complete The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I've already been making some good progress and enjoying it. I enjoy playing as Zelda. I think the switch up in combat is fun in this game. I think that's kind of one of the most striking or noticeable things to me is how fun it is doing the combat. And you're going to get your favorites, kind of like in the other game. You'd have your favorite attachments or things you would, or items. Yeah, I guess attachments, like you would use fire arrows a lot, or put electricity on your arrows. You get like your favorite little things. In this one, you're getting them as well, like using the bed a whole lot. I think that's a great one. to use for mobility stuff. I've read that the bed is one of the most star OP items in the game. I'm also using little fireball guys, throwing them around. I have the wolf now, and he's pretty vicious, so I sometimes unleash him as kind of like a bodyguard. So you're playing as Zelda, and Zelda has a magic wand, so she can't explicitly use a sword, but I'm not gonna give it all up here. But you get a lot of powers that can help you do some different things, and maybe you get the powers of some guy named Link that you're able to use. So that kind of hints at it a little bit. But your main thing is going to be your wand, and you're going to be picking up all these items, and you're going to echo the items. You're going to copy them. You're going to copy the items in the world. You're going to copy enemies, and then you can have enemies to fight for yourself. And there's different things, like if you summon a winged enemy, you can jump off a ledge and glide with them, kind of thing. So there's different combinations of things you can do, and it's very imaginative and cool. So I'm really enjoying this. I like the top-down approach to Zelda. I think it's a little more, different than the 3D open world. It's a little more, it's not as overwhelming. But this seems to be a pretty big map. I've been making my way through the map. I'm getting to the waypoints. They have I think they're called warp zones. They're things you can warp between, so fast travel points basically. And you do get a horse at some point, but I haven't gotten one. I have a mission to go recover a horse, so I need to probably do that, because that would be extremely fun, especially with doing some exploratory stuff. I want to get the horse. So this game has been very fun. I love the structure of the missions. It gives you side missions. It gives you main missions. It's really similar to Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom in that way, but I feel like the missions are coming a little more hot. Like you're getting a few of them more often. They're seeming a little more direct, and I'm enjoying that part about it, because some of the open world stuff of those other games is something that I just haven't been able to push over or push past in my playthrough. So it's been really enjoyable. The music's cool. The combat's cool. The sidekick Tree is really, really cool. I like her. And she has an ability herself. So there's, it's all about magical abilities. So you're walking around the Zelda or Hyrule as a magic user. So it's really, really cool. And Zelda looks awesome. The world looks awesome. The art's cool. The game doesn't run amazingly well. And I don't know if that's surprising. It runs pretty similar to Link's Awakening, the remaster of that. So a little framey in the open world stuff, but nothing I'd say that would be like a deterrent from playing the game in any way. But just something to notice and point out if you want to be nitpicky about it. That is a little bit apparent in this game, some frame stuff, but they're running on pretty old hardware. They're doing amazing things with the art style, and I really don't feel like if I had to give them a grade on a test, I don't think I would knock them down for that. It would maybe just be more of like an observation than giving them a demerit or something like that, whatever for it. But Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I'm hoping this will be the first Zelda game I ever complete. I'm going to complete it with Zelda, and I'm loving it. I'm playing a magic user in Hyrule. It's really, really cool. So go check it out. I'll be updating you in the further weeks on how it's going with my Zelda progress, and hopefully I will be completing a Zelda game in the near future. I would love to. That'd be awesome. So those are my Zelda thoughts for the week. New Echoes of Wisdom is very cool. All right, since I was booting up my Switch, playing some Zelda, I was looking at the Nintendo Switch online icons. They had icons for the Echoes of Wisdom, so I paid for a month of online service, got a cool new icon of Zelda that I've used, and I played some Splatoon 3. Since I've been talking about that for a while, doing some pump fakes, wanting to play some Splatoon 3. We just had the Grand Festival, which was kind of like the grand closing of Splatoon 3 events, but Splatoon 3 multiplayer is still running and all that kind of stuff. It's still a great game. They're still doing kind of like regular events and things like that, but just nothing extraordinarily new. But it's still a wonderful, amazing game, and that proved to be true. So I played a handful of matches of this. I love the 3-minute matches. I love the motion controls. I love the characters. I love using the one weapon that I always do. It's basically like the Super Soaker gun, just like kind of like a normal gun, and I use the bombs. And I love swimming around the ink and blasting people, and it's just an awesome game. So Splatoon 3, really cool. I wrote the control scheme. It feels like riding a bike. It takes, for 1 second, you're like, man, I kind of forget how this is, but then a second and a half later, you're back into it, and it feels very intuitive. So I really do stress that with Splatoon 3. You should try the motion controls out. It's something I generally don't like in video games, but you should try it out. Maybe stick with it a little bit longer than you might like, because it might reap some benefits in the future, because it's just a really fun way to play that game. I think it's very unique, and I think it's very important to the style of the game. It's really cool. And yeah, I still like the same items for my character. I'm still using the same abilities. I haven't really changed that up too much, but my character looks really cool, and I love Splatoon 3. Really great game. So, go Nintendo. That was my Nintendo section of video games I'm playing. And let's get into another platformer I'm playing. So it's a great time for some platformers. Well, those aren't platformers, but I'm playing Astro Bot on the PlayStation. And I have got enough bots to proceed. I was stuck at the end of the 4th world. I needed 150 bots to open the boss, and I got that. And I've been moving along. I'm in the final world. Well, it's the final one that opens up on the main screen, like the main animals. I think this one's some type of big bird creature. And so I'm in the top left world. It's like a purple color. I've completed maybe 3 or 4 of the levels in there and been really having fun. So I got my sights on the end of Astrobot, and I do have a little bit of thoughts of going back in the levels and using a guide and maybe trying to do some completionary stuff, because I think that could be pretty fun. I had to go back when I was trying to get the 150. I had to go back and do some backtracking, and I was a little bit griping about it, even on the show and in my mind, but I had fun with it going back, and some of the things I missed were really, really clear, and I must have just been blown past them, and it wasn't too hard to find them. So I think it could be fun to play some more Astrobot. I'm not generally a completionist of a video gamer. I'm not, so I don't know if that's, how that will go, but I think I might give it a shot. But the first step there is I need to complete Astrobot, which I think I will possibly later today or in the next week. So maybe the next time I talk to you, I'll have completed the main story of Astrobot, and I'll be happy to report that. And yeah, there's a little bit of news about Astrobot in the midsection, so I'm going to hold that for the midsection. And I am on to the last world. So those have been my main video games this week. I've also been playing some Horizon Zero Dawn, which we're going to talk about that a little bit in the midsection too, but I've been playing that. Just started a new file on that. I've never played that, never completed that game, maybe only ever played 5 hours or so. So I'm probably 5 hours in now at this point, but I'm playing that a little bit. Not really enough to talk about, but that's one of the games in my rotation, and I've been playing some really great stuff. But I've really been into Zelda, so The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom been extra fun. That's been the main game I've been wanting to boot up. It's the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show. I want to mention that as well. And so I've been having a laser focus on RPGs, so thinking about them more than I would on a normal year. And so the other games in my rotation would be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is the year of the RPG game. And yeah, I have a list here of games, and Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Astrobot. I think those are my 3 main games in my rotation. I mentioned I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, Splatoon 3 a little bit, but I'm always kind of jumping in and out of other games, but those 3 right now are my mainstays. So that's been all the video games I've been playing. Been having a lot of fun, and I'll probably be telling you about some of these games again next week. So that is going to be the first break of the show. We're going to take a break. We're going to hear some music, and we're going to come back for the midsection, which is the video game news. So all the video game news happenings and things you need to know. I would say this is the most important section of the show each week, because it gives you some good information as a video gamer out there. So go take a quick break and come back after this music for the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 96. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 96. This is the section where I tell you about all the video game news and happenings that you need to know. So what has happened in the last week since I've talked to you? And we had a Sony State of Play. So that was definitely the most exciting thing that happened. So I'm going to run down all the things I found interesting from the Sony State of Play that happened this week. It took place on September 24th, 2024. You can go watch the video right now if you'd like to on PlayStation's YouTube channel, or go watch, I watched Giant Bomb talk over this one. I think some other channels did some talkovers as well. I think Jeff Gerstmann did one later in the day. So those are always fun to watch with someone talking over it. So I'd just like to recommend that as well. But the Sony State of Play had news and updates on more than 20 upcoming PS5 and PSVR2 games from the studios around the world. It was a 30-plus minute show, and I would say it was not too... Well, I mean, you probably already watched it or talked about it. I would say it was just kind of okay. The announcement at the end was the most exciting, and definitely put it more on a positive spin in people's mind than negative, because I think it was going pretty negative before that. But the Ghost of Tsushima sequel got announced, which is called Ghost of Yotei. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But Ghost of Yotei has been announced. It's the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. It's the game from Sucker Punch with a new protagonist called Atsu. So ATSU. I hope that's how you say it. And they released some information. They showed some footage of it. I mean, I guess it was more art and kind of just like cutscene kind of stuff, but it looked really, really cool. It looks beautiful. The art style of this game and this series has been amazing. That's definitely been a highlight of this. And this announcement does have me wanting to go play some more Ghost of Tsushima. So Just is showing that something I missed here. I need to go back and play some more of it. So I'm going to tell you about what they're announcing with this game. Let's see, I guess it's one of the lead directors talking about this. When we set out to make a new Ghost game, we wanted to maintain the core pillars established in Ghost of Tsushima, playing a wandering warrior in feudal Japan, offering freedom to explore at your own pace and highlighting the beauty of the world. We also wanted to continue to innovate, to create something fresh but familiar. We looked beyond Jin's story. So Jin was the protagonist in the first game in the island of Tsushima, and shifted our focus to the idea of the ghost instead. At Sucker Punch, we love origin stories, and we wanted to explore what it could mean to have a new hero wearing a ghost mask and uncovering a new legend. This led us to Ghost of Yotei, a new protagonist, a new story to unfold, and a new region of Japan to explore. They're not diving into specifics yet, but they can say Atsu's journey takes place in 1603. So this is more than 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. Their story is set in the land surrounding Mount Yotei, a towering peak in the heart of Ezo, an area of Japan known as Hokkaido, Hokkaido in present day. In 1603, this area was outside the rule of Japan and filled with sprawling grasslands, snowy tundras, and unexpected dangers. So that sounds like a cool setting. It's a far cry from the organized samurai clans who lived in Tsushima, and it's a setting for an original story they can't wait to tell. So this is just what they're kind of telling you about the game and their decision on not going with Ghost of Tsushima 2 and having a new protagonist and a new setting. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a great idea. They're also saying this is also Sucker Punch's first game built from the ground up for PlayStation 5. So we are 4 years into the PlayStation 5's life cycle, and this is the first game being built from the ground up. So I think this is just kind of the way of the industry. I'm not really laughing at Sucker Punch too much for this. It's just more of a funny thing that we've had this console for so long, and we are barely getting any games built from the ground up on PS5 yet. They're already making the Pro, and I think it's just kind of how it's going. But I don't think you have to. I think you can play these games on different platforms, which is nice. So, or on different. I think you can you can play Ghost of Tsushima on PlayStation 4, and it probably looks wonderful still. So, but this is their first game built from the ground up for PlayStation 5, and they're excited to build on the visual foundation we've established in Ghost of Tsushima by making the world feel even more real. We have massive sightlines that let you look far from across the environment, whole new skies featuring twinkling stars and auroras, even more believable movement from wind on grass and vegetation, and more improvements we'll share in the future. Their new setting gives them the opportunity to introduce new mechanics, gameplay improvements, and even more weapons. So being reminded about the movement of the wind and helping you go around the world, I think that was one of the definitely cool things about the first game. And I have put this game on a wish list. I want to hopefully catch it on a sale. It's full price right now, mostly everywhere you look. So hopefully catch the first game on a sale and maybe get back into it, like I've been trying to do on some of these sequels coming out. I'd like to go back and try to play the first one if it's not, if I can or if I want to. But what else do they say? So the Ghost of Yotei, our trailer today offers a glimpse into this world, but there's so much more to show, and we'll have much more to share in the months ahead, including details about Atsu's journey and the people and animals she'll meet along the way. We are forever grateful for the success of Ghost of Tsushima, and we can't wait for all of you to experience Ghost of Yotei in 2025. And some Sony exec was saying they want to expand this franchise into other media, movies, TV, and other spin-offs. So they got big hopes for this. I think they're making all the right moves with the sequel so far, seemingly. And I think you got to be careful when spinning these things into other franchises. But I guess Sony's been doing an okay job. I think that Last of Us show did pretty well, and I'm trying to think of other situations. I think they've not done very well with Uncharted, but it looks like they're trying to put some stuff into this. I think samurai stuff is definitely pretty cool, and the art style and look of these games is amazing. It could lend itself to some good stuff on other mediums and other media. So I think that's a cool idea. Ghost of Yotei definitely was the star of the Sony State of Play, I would say, and I think that was the announcement they needed there at the end to have anybody feeling positive. But I think if you take this one out of there, the rest of the show was pretty subpar. But I'm not complaining about it. I'm just judging this show in a vacuum sort of thing. But, there's a million games to play. I mean, you would love for them to announce a million new IPs and wonderful games, every one of these things. But that's just not how it goes. These games take time to make. We're seeing it takes longer and longer to make these games. A lot of people are talking about video game crash company, what's going on in the video game world. Definitely think there's some merit to that. But I think there's some merit in there are a lot of great games in the backlog and things that people have already made, and there's new stuff coming out all the time, and we should at least be a little thankful for that, and I am a little bit thankful for that out here on a video game soapbox. So all right, that's my thoughts on Ghost of Yotei. It looks really, really cool. So let's get more into the Sony State of Play. Astro, a game that I'm in consideration for Game of the Year for me. I talked about it in the first section of the show. It came out on September 6, 2024, and they have announced some free DLC. So a little bit of icing on the cake there. Announced for the fall 2025. No firm date yet, but it has 5 new online speedrun levels and 10 new bots to rescue. So I talked about trying some completionary stuff there, and now they're adding some more bots into the mix. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Astrobot is so much fun. I think it's a great fun per minute game. Like, you're having so much fun everywhere you go in that game, and it's a joy to play and super fun, and more of it for free is excellent. So way to go, Team Asobi and Astrobot. So some more news. This is another game I mentioned I'm playing. Is Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a remaster. So this has been officially announced. This is being rumored, and it's being remastered for the PS5. Anyone who owns the PS4 version will be able to upgrade to the PS5 version when it comes out for $9.99. The remaster is arriving on Halloween 10/31/2024 and will include 10 hours of re-recorded dialogue as well as visual enhancements, and something that is of note and I think was a good win for me. When this was being rumored, I didn't have a copy of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was interested in playing it. I have Forbidden West, and I played maybe 20-something hours of that, but it's been a long time since I picked that game up, so I wanted to go back to Horizon Zero Dawn, and I picked up the digital version for $19.99. So it was the complete version. That was the cheapest way to get it. It looked like a lot of physical copies out in the world were more expensive. Used copies were running around $20. I saw those, so pretty similar. But a brand new digital copy, fresh off the presses, was $19.99 before the official announcement, and now they have bumped that complete edition up to $40. They have doubled the price of that just in the matter of a week, and I was just lucky to have some foresight there, and knowing I would want to play this, and got out a little bit cheaper. So a little bit of a bummer. I think the full version is going to cost $49.99. So I think that lines up with what they're doing. They want you to buy the complete edition for $40 and pay $10 more to get the upgraded version. They're going to sell you the upgraded version for $50. But if you already own the game, and I just bought it last week for $20, I'll be able to pay $10 and get the new version for $30. So I don't even know if I'm going to pay the $10. I probably will, just to see how it goes. I don't know if you have to restart a file or not, but I've just started a fresh file, and I've been having no complaints with the way it looks. Having a whole lot of fun with that game. I really do like Aloy. I think she's a cool character, and I'm liking her more and more as I go. And the combat's fun in the game. The open world's cool. The game looks beautiful, and I just don't think. I think it's fun. I've been playing, and it's a little bit of a relaxation game of just going into the open world and walking around and doing some stuff. So it's been fun for that. Good for podcasting, not taking it too serious, but it does have some nice story moments with Rost and Aloy and some of the other stuff going on there in the world. But so Horizon Zero Dawn. A remaster is coming. I don't think we need it, but it's coming. If you already own the game, you can pay $10 and get some upgrades. But, I think if you already own the game, you might not be wanting to play it again right away. You might not be wanting to pay for the upgrade. So, I don't know. I think some of the pricing stuff's weird here, but, you don't have to pay for it. You can still go find a physical copy, but, not everybody has a disc slot on their console. So it's just some murky stuff here with these video games, prices and the way they're delivering these days and that kind of stuff. There's a little bit of shade I'm throwing at the industry. They make some of this stuff kind of difficult, but it's a very fun game, and we'll see if I keep playing it. So that's what's going on in Horizon Zero Dawn. It's being remastered. So some more Horizon news. Their Lego Horizon Adventures has got a release date. It's the upcoming Lego and Horizon collaboration is coming to PS5 and PC on November 14th, 2024. You can officially pre-order the game in the upcoming week on October 3rd, 2024. So you can see the price and all that kind of stuff in the storefront, which is nice to see. I don't know. I guess this will be a full-price game, or it could possibly be a $49.99. I'm not sure how Lego games are priced in the past, but they are trying to give us some Horizon, and I think it's pretty cool because I'm on the Aloy side of things right now. I'm enjoying playing as her as a character and having some fun. So Lego Horizon Adventures got a release date announcement for November 14th, 2024. Another game that got a release date announcement that's a pretty big one. One of the bigger games going on in the universe is Monster Hunter Wilds. It's going to be released on February 28th, 2025 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The new trailer shows off new monsters as well. This game really looks amazing and incredible. I think Monster Hunter is a franchise that I need to get into at some point. I played some Monster Hunter Rise, and that was my first introduction to Monster Hunter. But I ended up trading that copy back in after about 10 hours, and it's something that I want to try again. So I don't know if I'll be jumping into the brand new one, but maybe I'll pick up Rise or Monster Hunter World and get my feet wet a little bit and see what's going on in the Monster Hunter world for real. But this Monster Hunter Wilds really does look like a game built for the current gen. It looks very visually impressive, and if they're doing a lot of the fun Monster Hunter mechanics and having crazy enemies and beasts and animals in there and stuff, I think it's setting up to be a really, really cool game and one that everybody can enjoy across multiple platforms. I think that's nice too. So a really nice big third-party release. I think that's a great thing. So go check out the new trailer. They've definitely shown off a lot of trailers for this game and been showing off weapons and things like that. So there's definitely some good information out there. But I think this game is going to be a smash hit, especially for early in the year next year. All right, so some more Sony State of Play news. Let's see here. What else we got? Palworld. That's out right now on PS5, so that's some new news. Palworld was originally just on Xbox and PC, I believe. It's the Pokemon-like game that is currently in a legal battle with Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. And I think having your game described as a Pokemon-like game is not a good thing for Pocket Pair in this lawsuit against Nintendo, because everyone does call this the Pokemon game, the Pokemon with guns. But hey, I'm just here to tell you, it's not something I played or was really interested in. I think it was a pretty big success. I'm surprised it just came out earlier in the year. So that was surprising to me that it was just this year the Palworld came out. I feel like it kind of came and went, but it's coming out to PS5, so that could add some new life into it. And this could be just a game. I'm not aware of the current player base, but it's on PS5 right now. They're undergoing a legal battle with Nintendo, and that's what's going on with the Palworld. So, all right, more State of Play news. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is getting some free DLC, and it's out right now. It's called Radical Reptiles DLC. It's free and out right now. I want to say the caveat, I think it's free and out right now on PlayStation. I looked this up on Nintendo, and it's apparently $3.99 on Nintendo Switch, so maybe it's just a freebie for PlayStation. I'm not really sure, but this is bringing 2 new playable characters and a remake soundtrack, so this is another game where the base game is very great. They've had some DLC and added some free content into it and made it even better package as time has gone on. I think this game will stand the test of time as a great package for the Ninja Turtles, and something that I played some of on Game Pass, and just something I would definitely want to pick up at some point if it's on sale. It's just kind of one of those games I put in the category of like Dead Cells or Spelunky or Binding of Isaac or Super Meat Boy. Just one of those kind of classic games that is going to be around for a long time. It's not a full price game, and it has a whole lot of fun in the package. In the package is that was just, I don't know why that sounded weird, but all right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. A lot of good stuff in the package. Alan Wake 2, another video game that came out last year. They have announced the Lake House expansion has been revealed, so this is set to arrive in October 2024, right in time for, as people call it, which is not going to be fun to say, but they call it Spooktober. And this is coming out so in October 2024 on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. I believe earlier in the year, Alan Wake had its first part of the expansion, so I believe this expansion is go pay one price and you get multiple things at release, and I think one of those is already out, and now this one is going to be coming out in October. So I think if you're already ponied up the cash, you're just going to be getting this in the Halloween month, or if you want to go pay for the expansion right now, I think you get access to the other one, but double check me on that, but I think that's the case. And Alan Wake 2 is a video game that I'd like to get to at some point. I do own it. I'm definitely scared of it, and something I want to play more of. All right, more Sony State of Play. Dynasty Warriors Origins is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S on January 17th, 2025. The trailer was a release date reveal and shows some gameplay and combat. Never really played a Dynasty Warriors game. Maybe I played one of them on the Switch with one of the Switch franchises for a little bit, but this is a franchise that has had a long history. A lot of people have liked these games, so I think this could be cool if it comes back in a great way here, but I don't know how these games are really tracking these days. But Dynasty Warriors Origins is going to be released January 17, 2025, so something to put on your calendar for next year, which is pretty wild. I know that's something, time's slipping on by this year. Where did the year go? But I mean, really, we're getting a lot of 2025 announcements now, and next year will be here before we know it. All right, Hitman 3 VR Reloaded is arriving December 2024. Will offer full dual wield and support various hand gestures. So I don't normally really keep up with VR news, but this just looks so cool. I think Hitman 3 is Hitman's just a great game to match up with VR, and it looks like they just have the levels that everyone knows and love in VR. So I think it's a really cool thing. You could already have some familiarity with the area that you're exploring, in the virtual world and could add some extra fun to it. So arriving in December 2024 for the VR folks out there, Hitman 3 VR Reloaded. All right, the last two things I want to mention from the Sony State of Play. They announced some new PS5 controllers and I guess console covers as well. The new line of PS5 DualSense controllers were announced called the Chroma Collection. So it includes Chroma Pearl, Chroma Indigo, and Chroma Teal. The pre-orders begin in October. I think these look cool. I think the console covers look cool. Something I don't know if I'd ever get a console cover. I'd like to have one, but I feel like they're kind of expensive. But I think it's cool. They're putting more colors out there, and you can match your controller with it. So even talking about it here, it's talking me into it a little bit. But I could see myself getting one on sale at some point or just some random time. But look out for those. Pre-orders start in October. There's new controllers. Xbox has announced some new controller SKUs too, some new colors. So I think they're being very creative recently with the new controllers. So I think that's a great thing. And if you're in the market for a new controller and haven't bought one in a while, go check them out. You might be able to get something really, really extra cool at this point. So just want to mention that note about the Xbox controllers too. But last thing from the Sony State of Play, they mentioned the PS5 Pro, which is coming out, I believe, in November. But they showed off a sizzle reel of games getting PS5 upgrades. Whatever, it's a lot of games. I can't tell if they look better or not, but it's nice that they're giving them some upgrades, they're saying. It seems like the pre-orders sold out pretty quickly, but I think you can still pre-order these right now. I think they've put them back in stock or something, but I'm just really not in the market for the PS5 Pro. I'd like to hear what people think about it, but I just don't think it's a very necessary purchase. I also heard another person saying they're not making that many of them, and it really is a niche kind of thing, but I don't know. I don't really have too much motivation to find out or definitely actually spend some money on. But the PlayStation has the 30th anniversary stuff coming out too that looks really cool. I just don't really need a new controller. I could buy a console cover at some point. It could be kind of cool to get, but just not a necessity. But if you're in the market for a new controller or console or something in PlayStation right now, they have a lot of cool options and colors and things like that. So check them out. All right, so that's everything I have to tell you about from the Sony State of Play. There was more announcements and information in the Sony State of Play, but that was everything I found extra interesting or thought you might find extra interesting. But please go watch it for yourself. Go check it out. And overall, I think it was a pretty good show, okay show. I'm really happy with my PlayStation at this point. I have a lot of good stuff to play, and it's been my main console I've been playing besides my Nintendo Switch. So, and I've been probably playing it more than the Nintendo Switch. So I can't really gripe too much about something that I'm having so much enjoyment for. All right, so let's see. We got a little bit more news here to get outside the Sony State of Play, but just a few I want to tell you about before we wrap up the midsection here. Assassin's Creed Shadows, a big third-party release from Ubisoft, is being delayed until Valentine's Day next year, so February 14th, 2025. Ubisoft Quebec is developing this title, developed and published by Ubisoft. They're saying they need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. This game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch, which that's something they weren't touting before. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. So I guess that's them trying to establish a little bit of goodwill with the community, giving something that they wouldn't have given you for free before. We sincerely believe this is the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. Thank you for your ongoing support. All these quotes from a post, Mark Alexis Cote, C-O-T-E, on behalf of all teams working on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I don't think this is going to be a day one purchase for me. It was something that I was kind of in a wait and see mode that I was hoping would be cool. This is something that I don't think I would want to pay full price for, because this game you could see this going on a sale. I think these Ubisoft games do go on sale not too long after release sometimes. Just kind of the way it goes. And there's a lot of controversy kind of going on with this game. Some of the stuff in the world and the setting and some of the things that their characters are using, I think. But I haven't really looked too much into it. I just think this launch of this game has gone very poorly and not something that I'm generally looking for. They're pushing it back to next year. I always kind of think that I would rather these companies release a full game than release something broken or incomplete. So take your time to do it. I would rather that happen than pay for something incomplete. I think most people probably feel that way. And I think most games nowadays are coming out in incomplete states. So I think hopefully the industry is going to shift, but it seems like it's shifting towards more and more incomplete games coming out. So I don't know. So that was Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed until February 2025. And then the other bit of information, another Ubisoft game, Star Wars Outlaws. So there was a financial update from Ubisoft, which announced a number of significant changes. The company, including the Assassin's Creed Shadows delay we just mentioned, but They're saying Star Wars Outlaws had a softer than expected launch and also gets a November 21, 24 release date for Steam. So that was some new information. Despite solid ratings, is what they're saying, and user scores that reflect an authentic Star Wars universe, Star Wars Outlaws initial sales proved softer than expected. In response to player feedback, Ubisoft's development teams are currently fully mobilized to swiftly implement a series of updates to polish and improve the player experience in order to engage a large audience during the holiday season to position Star Wars Outlaws as a strong long-term performer. So I think this is more interesting in the business side of things. I do have this game. I haven't played too much of it. Not for it being bad, I just have other games I'm playing that are taking precedent over it because I want to. But it seems like a good game, and it seems like if I just wait, this game's going to get a little bit or get even better. And I think that is probably a good lesson to take with these video games these days, that you should wait to buy them. And these games, they're even treating it like that in these financial things. They're wanting this game to be a strong, long-term performer. And I guess that's something these companies have thought about for a long time, but it's kind of one of the first times of me hearing and thinking about it, and especially just right now in this moment, that they're positioning it that this could be a way of them just talking about they have a fire going on, that they don't like the initial launch, and they can't really tout those numbers. So they're trying to make it sound like they were strategically planning this. It could be a little bit of showmanship, and it probably is that now thinking about it. But all these games want their games to be a strong long-term performer, but you really have to make a good game have a good game for that to take place. So you're missing the first step in that equation. But that's a little bit of my, I guess, almost cynical take on that. But I don't know. I think this game seems kind of fine from when I played with it. So I think some of these things too get blown out of proportion. A lot of people maybe who haven't played the game or have played it and just don't like it. People do have different taste. People who love Star Wars could go in this game with a little bit of a bias, a little bit of a they could be having blinders on and just kind of liking the game more and telling people they like it. And there could be a lot of different things going on with this game, and it seems okay. I think it's a little bit, maybe they shouldn't be saying these things out here in the public about how their game's floundering. I think if they would be a little more quiet about it, then we wouldn't really know the difference between it. But I don't know. It's apparently their media tactic. They know these things are going to get out here in these investor calls, and who knows. But that's the news with Star Wars Outlaws. They're going to be improving the game. So I'd say hold off on buying that. If you get it for the holiday season, hopefully it'll be in good, in whatever condition it's in then. Who knows? It's just confusing. It's very confusing out here as a consumer. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about for news this week, Metaphor ReFantazio is a upcoming video game that comes out on October 11th, 2024 for $69.99 US, and there was a demo available now. So I've downloaded the demo. I haven't quite gotten to it yet, or maybe I played like 10 minutes of it. I didn't really give it my full attention, but I do want to try the demo out. This game is from the creative minds behind Persona 3, 4, and 5. Comes Metaphor ReFantazio, a unique fantasy world where your protagonist will journey alongside his fairy companion, Gallica, hope that's how you say it, to lift the curse from the kingdom's lost prince, control your destiny, face your fears, and awaken magical archetype powers that lie dormant in your heart by awakening to an archetype. I hope that's how you say it, archetype. You will unlock the power to channel and combine the abilities of unique job classes, strengthen your bonds, and build your party to take down powerful foes and discover the kingdom's true nature. So I've had some fun playing the Persona games. Never gotten really too far in any of them. I've just kind of enjoyed them a little bit from afar and enjoyed the music a whole lot. But I think it's cooler taking a new stab in a new section and making a new franchise. And this is something I'm interested in. I think a lot of people I listen to and watch talk about video games are going to be into this and playing it. So I'll be interested to see how this game goes. And it's definitely something that I could see myself purchasing in the future. But I want to play that demo first off. And Metaphor ReFantazio comes out October 11, 2024 and has a demo available now. So that is all the news I have for you this week around the video game world. We talked about the Sony State of Play and all the wonderful games from that. Mainly the Ghost of Yotei announcement was a pretty big one. We talked about some other games there. And we talked about the stuff going on with Ubisoft of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. And we talked about the Metaphor ReFantazio demo is out now. So that is all the news I have for you this week. I'll be back next week as I always am with all the video game news and wrap-ups and information that you need to know, all the cool things that's going on around the world. And I'll be here to tell you about it. And hopefully you'll be back to join me. So I'm going to take one final break. That's all the video game talk I have for you this week. We're going to come back for the final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 96, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports, as I love to do, and tell you about what's going on with my favorite team. So last week, there was a miracle in Las Vegas. The Carolina Panthers. They went to Las Vegas against the Raiders, 4:05 p.m., and they won the mother-loving game. The Panthers won. They won a game. So they won with Andy Dalton as the quarterback. Andy Dalton versus the Raiders was 26 of 37 for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 sacks for 13 yards. He was the only quarterback to throw for 300 yards this year. And it was an amazing game. The offense was going off. Chuba had 21 carries for 114 yards, Long of 14. Also had 5 catches for 55 yards and a tud. Yotei had 8 catches for 122 yards and a tud. His Long was 35. He had 14 targets. The defense, Michael Jackson led with 9 tackles, all solo, and a pick. Shaq was next with 6 total tackles, 4 solo, 3 total team sacks. The Panthers are 1-2 after the Raiders, and they are playing in Charlotte today versus the Bengals. And Andy Dalton is starting again, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Then we got some fool's gold going on here with the Andy Dalton, the red rifle, or is the offense really cooking and going to be okay? And the defense definitely looked better last week. They were playing with more energy. Could this just be one bump from getting the new quarterback game, and today we're going to fall back down to reality? I don't know. The Bengals have been, I think the Bengals are 0 for 3. So they've had a really, really rough start. They have some talents. They have Joe Shiesty, Mr. Burrow. They got Jamar Chase. So some pretty incredible offensive weapons that are going to be out there. I'm not going to the game today. I'm gonna save my money and watch it at home, see what's going on, and see what's going on with the Panthers from afar, because the tickets were actually pretty expensive for the game today. So a little bit more of a commitment than the opener game, which was less expensive to go to. But I'm glad to see that. I guess that they're doing better. The ticket prices are going to go up and make the decision a little bit more difficult. But that's kind of what you want out here, because if you're a fan, you want the team to be doing good. And the Panthers won last week, which was very exciting. And I don't know what to think of the current situation. I think Andy Dalton's an older quarterback. I don't think he's played a lot of football recently. I think he's I think he's a liability for a streak or an injury here. And we'll be right back to Bryce. What is Bryce's confidence like? I just don't know. But hey, maybe they found something okay. Maybe Andy's going to stay healthy. Maybe he's going to play some good football all season. Maybe the Panthers will be competitive. And they have really turned the hype train around after those first 2 games. So I would say mission accomplished. Definitely put a little bit of more credence to Dave Canales and what's going on with the franchise. I mean, it seemed like it was a good move, and we're just going to see how it does over time. So a great start to their new plan, and we're going to see the Panthers don't like sticking with plans. So I'm just going to have some apprehension here. But they're playing today in just a couple hours. I'm going to be excited to watch the games. I'm going to get the podcast out and then maybe just have a little bit of time before the game starts. So pretty exciting stuff today in the football world. And then so the Panthers are playing the Bengals today for listening real time, and then next week the Panthers go to Chicago against the Bears. So I'll be telling you next week what's going on with what happened with the Bengals game, and then look ahead to Chicago for next week. All right, so other teams that are my favorite teams, the Charlotte Hornets. I'm a pseudo fan just because I live in North Carolina. First game of the season at Houston, 10/23/2024. Just want to keep reminding you of that. And the Atlanta Hawks, my favorite NBA team in the universe. The first game of the season is versus Brooklyn in Atlanta that same day, 10/23/2025. So less than a month away from the NBA officially kicking off. And I'm getting pretty excited for the Hawks season. Ready to watch a refreshed Hawks roster be competitive. That's my hope there. All right. The other bit of drama for the sports world today, in my sports world and my sports fandom, the Atlanta Braves are in a playoff hunt for a wild card spot. They currently have one. They're currently in the second wild card spot, and they have the Mets and the Diamondbacks fighting for the third one. But since last week, so at the Marlins last Sunday, the Braves won 5-4. On Tuesday, the Braves won against the Mets 5-1 in Atlanta. There was nothing Wednesday or Thursday because of Hurricane Helene, which is very devastating and a very powerful hurricane that hit the United States. And, T's and P's, as they say to everyone involved in with that. Some pretty terrible stuff going on with the hurricane, and it was very powerful and flooded, and, a lot of devastation going on with that hurricane. So it was a smart decision to move those games, because that was a mammoth of a hurricane. And so it changed the baseball schedule up a little bit. So as of Friday morning, the Braves are 1 game back from the Mets and D-backs for the wild card spot. The Padres have already clinched the number 1 wild card spot. Friday, Royals are at the Braves. The Braves won 3-0. This was Max Fried pitched a wonderful game. This could be his last start as a Bravo, so he got a really, really huge ovation leaving the crowd. But I don't think that's going to be his last start. I think the postseason is going to happen And I don't want to talk about if I think the Braves are going to sign Max Fried, because I don't think they will. But we could see Max Fried start. I'm still hopeful for the playoffs. And then Saturday, the Royals at the Braves. The Braves won 2-1 last night. Travis walked it off with a bomb. Ronaldo Lopez is back pitching, looking very excellent. So very good stuff going on with the Braves right now. A little bit of hype, a little bit of momentum. And they need to get in these playoffs and be rolling. So the Braves played today. The Royals at the Braves at 3:20. So a little bit of a later start than a normal 1 p.m. start for the Braves today. And then Monday, so tomorrow, the Braves have a doubleheader versus the Mets. So the first game tomorrow would be at 1:10. The second game would be at 4:40. And that will be the end of the season. So for today's scenario, though, I believe Atlanta would clinch with a win or an Arizona loss. So their destiny's in their hands today. The Mets would clinch with a win and an Arizona loss. And then Arizona clinches with a win and losses by Atlanta and New York Mets. So I was reading one thing that says the Braves could use the Mets winning today, because that would somehow cancel the games tomorrow. So I would really love for this to be wrapped up today and not have to go through the drama of the doubleheader tomorrow, even though it would be kind of fun to watch. But it is midday on a Monday with some very dramatic baseball, and the whole end of the season I've been watching comes down to just a few hours on a Monday afternoon, so that's kind of scary. But I hope the Braves get the win today. I think it seems like if they win, they get in. So, let the Braves win today. Let them beat the Royals. The Royals are a good team, but the Braves need to win even more. The Royals have already clinched a wild card spot, and the Braves need one. The Braves need to get in the playoffs. The Braves have had an insane, crazy season, and they deserve a chance to get in the playoff mix. And they can be just as dangerous as anyone. I guarantee it. And bring it on. Bring it on. Bravos. Get the dub today, and that would be huge. So that is my hope. That is my wish. That is my demand. That is my prayer. That is my thought. That is my whatever. I want them to win. Go Braves. Win the game today and get into the playoffs. So a lot of great stuff, great sports stuff going on today. So that's going to wrap up this miscellaneous talk section. I got to get this podcast out, and then I got to get watching these teams play and see what's going on, and play some of these great video games in the mix as well. So a lot of great fun entertainment stuff going on, and that's going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section. So we talked about the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hawks, the Braves, and please wish my teams the best. Hopefully the Red Rifle will do good today, and hopefully the Panthers get a win. Those are my last two thoughts on the sports. So thank you so much for listening to the show. It is my pleasure. Like I work at Chick-fil-A, it's a joy to do this show every week. I have so much fun. I hope you get some enjoyment out of it. I hope you get some good video game news. I hope you enjoy going on the ride of my sports fandom. Even if you're not interested in sports, you can make fun of me or be happy for me as a goal there in that section. Just thank you for being a listener. I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best places to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. So hopefully anywhere you'd like to listen to a podcast, it's available. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly and get some additional benefits. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show. Just thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. I hope you get to play some video games. Hope you get to watch some sports. Hope you hit some parlays. And I hope you enjoy yourself. And just thank you for being a listener. I'll be back next week for another episode, and I hope you will be too. So until next time, this has been another episode of the Dep Lewis Show, and I'll see you next week for another one.